Hi guys, this is Decode. Welcome you to another video tutorial on creating an ASP.NET Core application with Angular 7. In the last video tutorial, we coded the change detector to detect changes in the application for our add component in the product list. So as soon as the product is added, a new product is added, the changes will be detected by Angular, and then it will re-render the data table. So now in this video tutorial, we will go ahead and start working on the update functionality. So to update the products, we will write a new method or code a new method. We will call this method as onUpdate, and we will use this method to update an existing product. So inside the onUpdate method, first thing that we want to do, we want to get the values of the product, the updated values of the product from the update form. So as you know, in the add product, we got the values from the form, insert form. So similarly, we will go ahead and get the values of the update product properties from the model that contains the update form. So here inside the edit template, we have a model and which contains a form, and the form's ID is update form. So in order to get the values from this form, first we need to initialize the properties inside the ng on it. We have just initialized the properties for adding a product. We have to initialize the following properties here we have for updating the product. So let's go ahead and initialize the update product properties inside the ng on it method. So here let's put a comment saying initializing update product properties. So let's go ahead and do that. So here I'm going to add the properties and initialize them. So all the properties are created in the previous video tutorial. When we created the product list component class, we created the properties. So inside the ng on it method, all we are doing now is initializing these properties, and we have also initialized the ID property. That's because when we are updating the product, we need to provide the ID of the product, and we will go ahead and validate the image URL using this validate image URL regex that we created. That's regular expression. So we are following the same process what we did in the add product, but here we are also going to provide the ID because we need to provide the ID of the product that we are going to edit in the database. So now we have added validators. Let's save this, and now we will go ahead and add the properties to a form builder using the form builder object. So let's group these properties. So what we are going to do is we are going to call the update form property, and then we are going to group all the values that we received from the update form, and we will assign the values that we have to these values the keys that we have created. Like ID, we'll assign the value of ID to ID, the value of name to name. So by doing this, now we can now submit these values to the database because now we have grouped them into a product. So whenever you initialize, we have to group them because they are coming from a form group. So we have to group these properties. So now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and the validation or validators that we have created for our update form, we need to add them inside the form. Similarly, we added the validators for our add product. We have to do the same thing with the update. So let's go ahead and add those properties over here. So here we want to display inside the paragraph tag the message that the all fields are mandatory. So it's going to come from the model message. And then what we want to do is go ahead and start adding the conditions So for the first list item, which is going to be our product ID, we don't want to display the product ID, but we need to know what the product ID is. Therefore, what we are going to do is we will we will hide the product ID using the hidden tag over here, hidden attribute, and the value of this would be the ID value. So there will be an ID for each product that we want to edit, but the user would not be able to see that ID. So now the next thing in the second lee tag, what we want to do is we want to now fix the product title. So if the user wants to change the product title, we need to go ahead and check if they are adding a valid product title, because we want the product title, there should be a product title and they should only allow 50 characters. So we need to add some validation over here. So let's do that. So I have added an if condition over here that if the input box or input field is touched and if it contains any errors, then we will see the following errors. If the input field is left blank or there's no value entered, then we will display the required error. And if the characters that are entered are more than 50 characters, then we will display the max length error. So now what we want to do is to similarly add the conditions to validate the input fields or the form controls for the other form controls as well. So quickly do that. So I've added the required validation for the other form controls, that is the description field. We don't have any validation for the out of stock field because it's a checkbox. So, and then I have added validation for the price and for the image URL based on the regex pattern. We are verifying if the URL is acceptable. Now finally we have added this disabled attribute over here. That's because if the form contains any errors, that means the form is invalid, and if the form is invalid, this button will be grayed out. If the form contains no errors, then this button will be available to click. So let's save this. Now the next thing that we want to do is in our application, when somebody goes and clicks on the button, so when somebody clicks on this edit button, the modal should pop up, like how when we click on the add product modal pops up. When somebody clicks on the edit product, the button, the edit product modal should pop up with these product details. So let's go back and go to the form for the update edit template. So where is our form here? For the update form, let's add the click event. So when the form is submitted, we will fire off the submit event. So ng submit, and we will fire off the on update method. And when the edit button is clicked, we need to fire off the modal. So to fire off the modal, we'll scroll up and we will look at our table, and the table, the last column contains all the buttons, and here we have the edit button. So here we have to, inside the button tag, we have to add the click event. So if the button is clicked, we want to fire off the on update modal method, and we want to pass the product in that row. So that product, the specific row that is clicked, that product will be passed as a parameter to the method. So all the values of that product will be passed in the parameter. So going back, so we have to supply the product as parameter. So now the next thing that we want to do, we have not created this method, so let's go ahead and create this method. So going to the product list component.ts, here we are going to create the method to load the update modal. So here we will call this method as on update modal, and here we will write the logic for the method. So first thing that we want to do, when the method is when the button is clicked, the product is going to be passed into the parameter. So let's create product. We'll call this object as product edit, which will be a type of product. It's going to be passed to the parameters. This method is void because it's not returning anything. Now the next thing that we want to do is we have to set the values. So underscore id is dot set value. So when the product is passed, we have to use that values of that product and set those values to our edit product properties values that we have initialized over here. For now, there is no value. We have just initialized the product. Now we have to assign the values to these products. So we will assign these values from the product that is clicked. So is equal. Then the way we do that is by calling the set value method. So set value method, and the value will be provided by this product edit that is being passed dot the product ID. Similarly, we will also set the values for other properties from the product that is being selected. So let's do that as well. So I've added the remaining properties. So now when the button is clicked on our table on the product, this button, when it's clicked, all the values, that's the name, the description, the in-stock value, the price, the image URL, that will be encapsulated into a single product object, and then it would be passed to the parameter of the click method. So then that method's properties we are using here when we load the model. So when we are loading the model, inside the model we have a form, and when the form loads, we need to set the values of those form, preset the values of the form. So the form values cannot be empty because we are not adding a new product. We are editing the existing product's values. Therefore, those values should be pre-filled inside the form. Therefore, to pre-fill those values, we need to first get the values from the selected product and set the values to our properties. Next thing that we want to do is update the form. So our update form dot set value inside the model, we are going to set the values for all the input fields and the checkbox. So the way we do that is by using the key value pair. So we have got the properties, we have set them to the we have got the value of the properties, we have set them to the properties that we have initialized. Then these values, we have transferred them to the form that is being loaded inside the model, and now the form will display those values. Now finally we have to, after the properties have been set, we have to load the model and display the model to the user. So the way we display the model is using the model ref. So model ref object that we created, and then using the model service, we will call the show method to show our model. This time the model that we want to show is the edit model. Don't show the wrong model. We have an add model as well. So edit model, yes, and that should be it. So let's save this. Now let's go to the browser and test. So going back to the browser, and now let's click on the edit button, and you see the edit model loads, and the values that were selected from the product that was clicked are transferred onto the form. So predefined on the form. The form is not empty. The values have been predefined, and now the user can like edit the values based on whatever values they want to edit here. So we have a validation also added onto the model. So in case if the user tries to delete the values and try to submit the form, he wouldn't be able to do that because we have validation added. So in this way, we can create the edit model, transfer the properties onto the edit model. Now this here is not working. That's the close button. We need to hide the model. So for that, let's go back to product component.html. Inside the edit model that we have here, we have to add the method. So let's do that. So let's add a click event here. So whenever that X button or X icon is clicked, the model ref dot hide method is fired off and it hides the model. So let me just check now if I can load this product here, and if I can close. So what's happening here? Maybe I spelled it wrong. Let's me go back. Model ref dot hide button. So here I have missed an L. It's supposed to be model ref. Save this. Go back. Now I click this. Yes, the model is hiding. Click on the other one. Model is hiding. Click on this one here. The values of this product loads. Model is hiding. So now we have created a method that is capable of loading the product that's being selected to edit. Now when this update button is being clicked, we need to make sure that any values that we edit have also been edited in the database. Therefore, when we look at the model here, what we are saying is when the for update button is clicked, the on update method should be fired off, which will update the details in the database. And our on update method, we have to still write the logic inside the on update method. To speed up the process, I'm just going to paste the method. It's similar to adding a product. First, we get the values from the edit product from the form update form and store the values that we need to edit inside the edit product. Then using the product service object, we will call the update product method, and we will pass the details of the product that we want to edit. So we'll pass the ID and the other details or property values of that product. So what we are going to do is pass the ID. So using the edit product.id, and then we will pass the entire product. And then since the method update product returns an observable type of response, we have to subscribe to it. And then if the result is a success, what we are going to do is we are going to print console on the console that the product is updated. After that, we will clear the cache so that the new list of product is updated in the browser cache. Then we will store the new list of products using the get products method in product service, which will get the product and return an observable type of product array, and save it in an observable type product, that is product dollar. Then what we will do, we will subscribe to product dollar, and then the values we will store it inside the product array, and the value will be equal to our update list. Now finally what we want to do is we will hide the model that we have used to update the product, and then we will re-render the table. If there is an error, we are going to say that we could not update the product. It's similar to our add method where we first clear the cache, we update the product list, and we render the data table. But this time we should not get an error because we have fixed the error related to Angular's change detection. As soon as Angular detects the change that the product is updated, the table should be updated without any problems. So let's go ahead and test this. So let's click on edit product, change this to 100, test product test. Okay, leave this like this, leave this to 5000, and we'll leave the image as it is. So let's click update. So product has been updated. As you see, we go on the console, and the value of the product also has been updated. We can see over here, and there was no problem for Angular to detect the change because the change detector is listening for any changes that you have made in your component or in your application, because the change detector, as soon as the component initializes, starts to listen for any changes. We can also double check if the changes that we made are not stored only in the cache but also have been updated in the database. So we can go back to the database and then load the products table, and when we load the products table, we would be able to see the products that we just edited. So we can just right click and select the top 1000 products, and the products ID that we just edited was this one here, which is 1227, the product ID. If I go back to my table, the product ID is 1227, and the values are here like test product test. If I can go and check here, as I see, the database also has been updated. So guys, if you have any questions, you can always use the comment section and I'll be happy to answer them. Also, all the code is available in my DevOps repos. You are free to download it. And please like and subscribe my channel because this keeps me motivated to add more content on YouTube. And we are very soon approaching to the end of this project, completion of this project. We just have to code the delete functionality and fix the add product button, as only admin can see this. So for now I'm logged in as an admin, but we have not written any logic here to hide this button, and we will do that as well. So in the next video tutorial, we will add the delete functionality and then work on this button for admin user. So please like and subscribe my channel and have a good day. Thank you.